let's start. In this very moment, right here, right now, you are in perfect alignment with your greater being and the natural evolution of yours truly, the authentic you. Welcome to Navigating the Matrix with Natural Law Principles. I'm your host, Stephen Wybrow, and it's my great honor to have you here on the show again today in episode 3, which is very exciting for me because the 3 symbolizes a very important number and symbolizes a lot to me. And I deeply apologize to you for not presenting a show last week, but there's also a reason to that, which I will get into later in the show. It seems like the number 3 is a very profound number, a trinity, and I had sort of like a little bit of a breakdown last week, which, as I'm going to show later, is a breakthrough if we look into that, you know, and if we see it in a different light and integrate the lessons that are underneath the troubles that we experience in our life. Alright, so I'd say, and I've also got an announcement to make at the end of the show relating to that. So just stay tuned. And let's head right into the presentation. As is often talked about, we are at a point where there's a fork in the road. This fork in the road symbolism has been applying for quite some time, and it's a very useful analogy for what's going on right now, and it's up to us and it's our choice which path we take. So in this symbology there's two paths: to the left, which leads to freedom, and to the right, which leads to control. That's the basic dynamic when we can see clearly that's going on in the world right now as of today, 24th of April 2020. And we're still in lockdown of this coronavirus here in Austria, for example. And if you don't like this lockdown, then wait for what's coming in the future, because this power grab has only just started, and it will lead into a complete prison planet together with the implementation of 5G technology, which leads to the implementation of the smart grid, and that leads to total surveillance and total control. This path to the right. And the path to the left is the big chance we have right now to walk the path of freedom. And that's what this video series and this show is dedicated to: show what is necessary to implement freedom and to really live a life worth living, and to live in peace and harmony. Now, I'm gonna take a quick look into Plato's cave, and for those viewers who are not familiar with Plato's Allegory of the Cave, I want to say that I explained this in the previous 2 episodes, so I really recommend you also to look into the other episodes if you are interested. However, to explain the Allegory of the Cave is in a quick summary is that the shadows that are projected here on the wall by the signs that are held up by the priests here is the narrative that the people that are implementing this control system, the people in the shadows that control this world, want you to believe in. The narrative that they want you to believe in are the shadows on the wall that the people here in the cave are looking at. And it's basically a narrative that, oh, you can't change anything, you're a little human being, and you can only hope that everything is going to be fine for you and that we won't take all of your freedoms away. And you can't change any of that. We are this powerful elite, and you're doomed to experience a controlled society and just hope for the best. And the way out of the allegory of the cave, which is the path to the right, is the path to freedom. And that's the main motivation of this series. Now, there's a reason why I've dedicated the last 2.5 years to creating awareness around the issue of 5G and the implementation of 5G and the surveillance technology and the technocratic system that is planned to be implemented over the course of the next few years. And we are right in the middle of that. And I dedicated my working life, my occupation to stop the rollout of 5G. I've been a journalist now for 5 years. I've been writing articles and I've been researching for over 10 years. And when I heard about the rollout of 5G and the implications of that, I stopped studying at the University of Vienna and I went into the unknown and went into trust. And I made an intention that I won't end up in a technocratic society that needs 5G to fully function. And so therefore I'm going one step at a time to make this a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that leads to a life of freedom. When you stop 5G and the technocratic takeover, we create a world of abundance, a world of freedom, and we are absolutely overdue those changes to happen in the world. But there's a part that we have to play in it. And that's why I'm trying to lead by example and motivate other people to walk the talk with me. So, to give a very clear picture of what the implementation of 5G is all about and what the technocratic system and the technocracy that this elite structure is trying to implement with all of the surveillance and the social credit score in China that is intended to go absolutely global. And we can see that more and more with the unfoldment of the corona crisis. One picture that summarizes that takeover, because it is an invasion of our space, it is an invasion of our planet, and it is an invasion on our freedoms. And the 5G takeover, the technocratic society, transhumanism can be symbolized as a scalpel. That's what it is. Nothing more, nothing less, but a scalpel. It serves the function of disconnecting you from your true essence and from the number one power source that we have, which is nature. It's trying to disconnect us from our true nature. Not just from ourselves and from our humanity as we can experience with the social distancing measures that are being implemented right now to protect you from this deadly virus. No, as one politician here, the Chancellor of Austria said, this is the new normal, social distancing, because they care so much about you. No, they want to implement that new normal, and this 5G grid is intended to totally disconnect us from our true nature, which is the natural world and also our humanity. And it's an absolutely horrific thought. Why would anyone want to do that? Well, studying these topics for over 10 years now, the people that are pushing this agenda are complete psychopaths, and they know the power that we as a humanity have, and they don't wish for us to discover ourselves and the true creativity that lies inside of us. And so they want to disconnect us from that and from us. We are in a major crisis here, 100%, and there's also this saying from the former political advisor from Barack Obama, Rahm Emanuel, who said that you should never let a good crisis go to waste, because you can put into effect measures that you would normally not be able to put forward and to implement. And that's true. So that's what this elite class is trying to push forward. They want to keep things in a constant state of crisis, because when we are in crisis, the society changes much quicker into the direction that you want to take them. And also this crisis, and it depends how we view that, how our perspective is on this situation. This crisis can also be viewed as an opportunity, and it is the most important thing for me right now to put our focus to this opportunity that is presented to us. The system's broke, and with the crisis of the system and the financial crisis that is being caused right now with these lockdowns, and let's see how that continues on, but at any point we are at the right point in our unfoldment, in our development, and we can take that crisis as the opportunity that it is, if we can see it in that light, and move out of the cave of Plato, where we're only observing the control system implemented with all the different details. Let's focus. I strongly recommend to focus our energy on the opportunity that is presented. We can still put our time and effort into analyzing the situation we're facing right now and the problems of the world. However, I put forward the idea to do that with a certain level of awareness, where our energy is more and more channeled toward the opportunity that is presented and to the world that we really wish to have. Because it doesn't serve any purpose to just point fingers at the elite, Bill Gates, at Elon Musk, or any one of these system operatives. That's just one phase of the truth discovery process to find out about the people that are running this world. These sickos, they are very sick people and they've got a sick agenda. And I seriously don't like them because I don't like people imposing their will on me. And I can find them out. I can find out their names, but I don't want. It is not an end solution to the problems that we face to point the finger at them, that they are the problem. They are part of the problem. They are a sick bunch. Yes, they are. But we need to look deeper, because whenever we're pointing to someone who's the bad guy, always remember that energetically there's three fingers coming right back at you. And that's the dynamics. That's at play here. We need to look at ourselves too, 100%, because it is all trying to tell us something. In my estimate, there is a learning experience to be had with an attempted takeover and the implementation of a control grid. There is a learning lesson underneath that, and it's to find the power within us and to find the beauty within us and discover ourselves. That's what it's about. Because it's an interesting thing, which I alluded to, I think, in last week's show, that we find out the truth by becoming aware of the lies. And in my estimate, you find, and in my experience, you find to the light, to the true being, to your authentic expression of yourself through the darkness. That has been my experience in my lifetime. That it was the darkness that brought me back to myself. And no matter how dark things may seem at this point, right now, let me tell you that we are always faced with a situation which we can also handle. And this situation we find ourselves in right now, we can absolutely handle and get into our power. Because in my estimate, the whole corona crisis thing is going to completely fall apart. And they're moving things along too quickly and basically red-pilling the entire global population to the agenda that they wish to implement. So I don't think it's coming from a position of power. And if we can see it in the light that we discover ourselves, then I think we got the learning lesson here. Now, education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel, said Socrates. And I couldn't agree more. I learned to become a teacher of mathematics and history, and I've never had the chance to get into teaching properly, because I had to take responsibility for the situation we are finding ourselves in right now. I had to take full responsibility and let go my dream of the world and my unfoldment of my path, because there were other things that I needed to face first before I could do that. And it's that flame that's ignited inside of us. And as I've already said, I'm double fire in my star sign. And that flame, to ignite that flame in other beings, that is education. And not the filling of a vessel and knowing more about this, knowing more about that, and having our general knowledge pool expanded. That's fine, alright, but real education, to really become motivated, is the kindling of a flame and not the filling of a vessel. And the word education etymologically comes from Latin, and it means the ex prefix at the beginning. Ex means out of, and education comes from the Latin word ducere, from where we get the word the duce, which is to lead. So, in this sense, education means to lead out of, and would strongly suggest to lead out of darkness. To lead ourselves out of darkness, and also have mentors or coaches that help us out of that darkness and see the light of that darkness. And that light is spreading like nothing right now. And I wish to be a part and focus all of my energy to ignite that light in the human family. And what I focus my attention on is the anchoring of real intelligence, which is heart-based intelligence. The problem we've had in the world up to now is that we are ruled by our minds. It is mind first, and we forget the heart. That's why people go through entire lifetimes without ever having listened to their heart. And when they die, in the process of them dying, they are absolutely terrified and freaked out. Why? Because they didn't live the life that they wanted to live, that the heart was yearning for. And there's also a reason why one of the number one causes of death in our society is heart failure, because we have too little energy anchored in our heart and our being anchored in our heart. And this heart-based intelligence is an intelligence that is activated without reading another book or without another video. Those can be triggers that lead you to heart-based intelligence, but it's activated more and more if we relax into our being, into ourselves, and take risks and conquer our fears. Because there's these onion rings of emotions around our heart. There's these onion rings of emotion, and most people don't want to go there, to deal with their own stuff. And moving to the heart and activating heart-based intelligence means to dive into the realm of the emotions and to integrate those emotions. So then more and more our energy and our being is anchored in the heart, and that's where we are really safe. And most people right now still, they compensate that anchor in their heart and this place of peace, stillness, freedom, and also security. They replace that anchor in the heart, this trust in ourselves, with security in the outside, with an illusory security called government, who protects us from foreign invaders. So that's the revolution right here, and that's what I have to give to, because I myself, I've taken risks in my life. I jumped off that cliff 2.5 years ago, and I'm still standing. Don't have any debts. I don't know how I'm going to pay still the rent for next month, but that's okay. I do what I am tasked here to do. This is what I'm here to do, is to teach natural law to people, to inspire people, and to make them connect with their heart space. Again, because I am a heart-based being who's in the process of connecting further and further, more and more with the heart. And it's this dedication that counts. I have taken lots of risks, and you jump right into your heart. There is this life force energy that is carrying you if we experience it. We don't have to risk everything and go totally crazy. It is a one step at a time approach. So you take that one step and another step, and you integrate the emotions of fear that come up, or other emotions like a lot of sadness also that came up with me, for example. And that's where we jump right into the heart, and that takes dedication and discipline. It takes a real choice. It's a choice to make. I intend to live a life of freedom. That's what all of this is about, from my point of view. That's what I want. And I'm moving closer and closer, each little step at a time, towards that goal. And I invite you to walk this path together. That's what it's all about. This is not about me only producing these videos and hoping that you will listen because this is my life project. No, this is about us. It's about me and about you listening here. To do this together. To walk the path of freedom together in a co-creative endeavor. Co-creativity together with our mother planet. Create the new world. She can only do that activation and creation together with us. And for that we need to work through our fears, that which we most fear. Life gives you your greatest gifts disguised as your worst nightmare. And you get used to that process, and we're right in the middle of this process. Because there's two sides to the brain. There's two sides to the brain. And we are conditioned only to be in the left hemisphere of the brain, thinking everything analytically, thinking in linear terms. Oh, I do this, and then I do that, and then I do that. And also the left hemisphere of the brain sees everything as being separate from each other, when that is only an optical delusion. Everything is actually connected with each other. And that's this holistic worldview in which everything is connected with each other is what the right hemisphere of the brain brings to the forefront, gives us that perspective, that perception of life that's badly needed right now, and the gateway to being in a balanced state of mind. And then we can think clearly and think holistically in a connected sense, and also be able to analyze things and use the left hemisphere of the brain also. When we don't activate that right hemisphere of the brain, and we are always constantly in a state of imbalance, and the right hemisphere of the brain is very connected to our heart. It fulfills a lot of functions that are also represented and defined as heart-based intelligence, which is emotional intelligence. And also the word intelligence etymologically comes from the word intellect. That's one part of the word intellect, left hemisphere of the brain. And gense comes from the word genere, or generator, generation, which is creativity. To generate something, to create something is creativity, and that's the right hemisphere of the brain. So real intelligence is only expressed when the two hemispheres of the brain are in balance. And it's a tricky subject, the subject of emotions. We have never been taught this emotional intelligence at school. Maybe other people have been taught this, but I haven't been taught that, and I see the overwhelming, like I know no one who was taught this in childhood, emotional intelligence. And the first step of initiation, and this video series is dedicated toward, and look it up yourself, toward the ancient theme of initiation, to be initiated into a new way of being, to live a new life, to be reborn. And that first step of initiation is honesty. And that's what I try to be in this video cast. I'm trying to be honest and look into the mirror. Because the ego, the shadow aspect of ourself, always tries to tell us we're further than what we actually are. And it's important to be happy with what we have right now, because the one who's not happy with what he has won't be happy with what he will get. So the basis of that is to be happy and in gratitude with what we have right now. And that's what I learned this week. To be happy with what you have. I didn't produce a video last week because I was quite in emotional turmoil. And I'm very grateful in this moment, right now, towards a human being who wrote a comment in my comments section, and I was told that she would be really happy to support my work, and she really likes my work and my emotional intelligence, and she would really like to support that. And that support never came in the form of monetary support. And that really hurt me. That really made me question myself. I'm not doing this for the sake of money. Otherwise I wouldn't have let go of everything 2.5 years ago. But I was just really troubled by that, and made me ask deeper questions. Is it even worth it to do this video series? And I felt really down, not only because of that aspect, but that was just the trigger of something that was deeper down inside my being. Fears of not belonging, of never finding my true purpose in life. And that was the trigger for it. And it triggered existential fears that are also still inside of me. And I couldn't do the show last week. Unfortunately, it really hurt my heart because I thought, is this the end of it now? But there is no going back. There is no going back. There's just one path to continue on and integrate those emotions that come up from deep-seated trauma. And it's a gift to be triggered on that. Not always, we get angry about things. I do too. But actually they are a gift because they activate something that was already inside of us, and it comes to the surface to be processed and to be integrated and to gain access to the energy that is in that emotion of fear, of sadness, of anger, whatever. There is an emotional charge inside of us where we get more energy from it. And that's what I learned from that experience. Not being paid is something that I've come across a lot in my life, and it comes from too little value to what you do yourself, and that is on my part to heal that. So I want to use this moment to give my full gratitude to to this disappointment that I experienced. So thank you to you dear human being. You've really helped me along to integrate that deep-seated fear, and I'm very thankful for that because that brought me more to myself, and I knew, okay, there is more to come. There is something more that I can give forward, because I want to pay my rent and I want to put food to the table. That's the basis. I don't have a lot of a lot of needs to that, and if that's not possible with the work that I'm doing, because I'm not able to do the presentations outside right now anymore. That's why I'm started to do this video series here, then I'll have to look for a job which I don't like, and that's being honest with you. I don't want a job. I want to live the life that I love to live, and that's where I invite you to go along this journey together with me, because that all of us can do that, and I think it's time for us to move into a world of freedom and to actually feel that existential fear that comes up when we say, oh my god, we've got this crazy idea of living a life of total freedom and doing exactly what I'm here to do. I'm doing this, what I'm doing here right now is what I need to be doing. I'm here to do that kind of work. I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher of natural law principles. That's what I'm here to do. And that flame that is inside of me, burning inside of me, you can have some of that flame too. And to gain inspiration, to have exactly that life that you wish to have. So I was in that. It's the pendulum of emotions. The pendulum swings out. And that's also what these politicians all do, and also the Elon Musks and the Bill Gates of this world. They make the pendulum of emotions swing out, and we become angry, or I become angry about them. Why are you even attempting to take my freedom away? I'm sick of that. I'm sick of these people, trying to take my freedom away and impose their view of the world on me without me asking me, And it's a different situation, but the same basic outcome of of putting the pendulum, to the side, and putting the pendulum out, and not being imbalanced. When with the disappointment that I had last week, it takes us outside of ourselves, but by coming to the surface, these are deep-seated emotional traumas that come to the surface in order to be processed. And this pendulum swing can be dealt with and get back into equilibrium by integrating those emotions. And that's what I focus my attention on, because when we integrate those emotions and balance them out and let them go, because we are not those emotions, then we have a source of power. We come closer and closer to the heart-based intelligence. We are integrating, and those onion rings of emotions, and they become less and less, and the less power these emotions, which are stuck feelings, it's a stuck energy, the more we integrate those emotions, the more powerful the light shines from the heart, and the more powerful we get. So that's one of the hermetic principles, is symbolized by the pendulum, and it symbolizes also the principle of polarity, love and fear, and we can transform fear, anger or hate to the emotion of love by processing inside of us the emotions. And I was very upset, because this is what I share, and I'm not getting paid to do that, and that triggers existential fears inside of me, because I can't pay my bills, I can't pay the rent, maybe that's what I deserve, I thought, and I was just really deeply saddened by that. But I chose to take the empowered option and say, okay, this has happened now. Thank you for the lesson. Everything in life happens for a reason, and I choose not to be a victim of what has just happened, and I give my full gratitude to the being that triggered that, for then I can learn more. And I was very upset because what I'm sharing with you here is occult knowledge. It's hidden knowledge. It's the knowledge about natural law and how to integrate emotions and live from the heart, where you become uncontrollable, is the exactly the knowledge that this elite doesn't want you to have access to, and especially not to put fully into use. And that's what I'm sharing with you. For this knowledge I had to work 10 years to not only have that knowledge and know about it, but actually put it into rhetoric, to be sharing that, to share this information, and to make you understand that there's a lot of effort involved in it to process the emotion and to process the information to be able to teach this sort of knowledge. And this knowledge is profound, because you disconnect in this process from the mechanism of control, and you disconnect from the implementation of the smart grid, which is a control grid, and you connect to the natural world, to the natural internet, to the natural you, to the authentic you. This is what we don't want you to know. When you are a black magician, which as the more you go into the shadows of this world and of this control structure, they are black magicians. They are a priest class. They manipulate your mind and they manipulate your emotion through the use of mental and emotional mind control. That's what these people are into, and it's deeply embedded in Satanism. A Satanist gets his biggest reward by screwing the minds of other people. What we don't want you to know is to have access to the knowledge with which we manipulate you. And it's not the most complicated of knowledge. And I can explain that knowledge, and I put it into my life first, and then I give it forward to you. I only teach what I learn, is a Gnostic principle. And it's a gift to be able to explain this occult knowledge. For apparently Albert Einstein said, if you cannot explain it, then you haven't understood it well enough. Well, I have understood what these people are up to and what they want to do with us, and how we can stop them from manipulating us into a world of total control, and how we can move into a world of freedom. I know what it takes to do that. I've been practicing it all those years before, which has led me to this point here right now, where I share that with you and invite you to do it together, because there's no good in me having the life that I love, and everyone else, is suffering. I don't want that. This is a co-creative project together, that we can do this together to move into freedom. And that's what I was so saddened about, is I go into this occult knowledge and I can't even pay my rent. How ridiculous is that? What they don't want you to know, and it's just ridiculous, but that's what it is. It's fine, and I have to come to terms with it and make things work. And for this sort of knowledge in the ancient world, the pagans, that were using this knowledge, and the Gnostics, which were people, the people that ran the Library of Alexandria. Those people, the ancient people, that's our real root of our civilization, of us as human beings, because we are natural beings connected to nature, and we had natural civilizations that were in harmony with nature, like the pagans or the Gnostics, for example. They were burned for sharing this information. They were burned, they were destroyed, and they were killed for the spread of this information because it directly contradicted the doctrines of the Roman Catholic Church, for example, or also the doctrines of Islam, because it releases you of any control mechanism and any religious narrative that you need to obey to based on fear. It releases you from that, and that's the path of the revealers, is to reveal this information that we as humanity have a right to know about. It's we were born with this right to know about this information, and lots of civilizations have vanished from the earth. Giordano Bruno, who was burned at the stake, the Roman Catholic Church, to not share this information. That's how powerful this information is, because a control freak doesn't want you to know about the knowledge that's where the manipulation falls apart, and you, instead of manipulation, you go into manifestation with your hand, because you have the course of your life in your hand. And that's why I was really sad about that, because that was the reason why I didn't do a show last week, because I thought, this is incredible information and I'm just giving it out for free. Am I disrespecting myself for doing that? For giving it all for free? Out for free? I could create a mask where I tell people to pay for this information, but I won't do that. I'm tasked to do this job exactly in the way that I'm doing it. Improve the level of video and the level of audio, but I can only do that with funds, and that's just the way things are. And I'll just let things unfold the more interest is in this information. Yeah, it's about the topic of all topics. Why were these people burned at the stake? The topic of all topics. How do we get out of this prison? How do we become free? By understanding the nature of reality. By understanding what this realm that we occupy, by which laws this realm is governed. How does the universe work? And the microscopic version of how our psyche works. How does our being work? How do the two correspond with each other? How does my being influence the reality that I experience? Those are the things that we don't want you to know. Okay? I'm going fully along with it because I'm fully in trust mode. So, now we come closer and closer to the end of this show. There is nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come, said Victor Hugo. And As I said in the previous show, the interview from David Icke symbolized something profound for me, and I think it's creating a profound shift in this world. As I'll explain, it was a historic interview, completely destroyed the official narrative of the coronavirus and very important information relating to what is happening in the world right now. And this is the way an idea is just so powerful, and especially an idea whose time has come. And I especially loved the idea that was born in Brian Rose's mind, the interviewer of David Icke, after the interview with David Icke. Because the interview from David Icke was so powerful that it got censored straight away on YouTube. Then it was censored on Vimeo, and then it was censored on Facebook. You can still watch the interview. I have a link underneath the second episode. You can watch it. And it was really powerful. And London Real, the organization that Brian Rose has created, they were banned from all the different platforms on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Well, actually, in actuality, they had major problems. Okay, let's just say like that. I don't know if they were fully banned. I know they were banned and deleted from LinkedIn, and that profile has been reinstigated and put in again. It's active again, and they were banned from there, and it made this is exactly the situation I just talked about. Instead of staying in a state of victimhood, you use that experience to empower yourself, to say there is something more to know about this. Why have I, on one level, created this situation? Why am I sad about this? Why does it hurt me? Why am I banned? Why was I banned? Did Brian Rose asked. And it's because he's authentic, and it's powerful what he's doing, and it has a major impact. And that's what these elites fear. They fear authentic people. I don't get everything right here, and I say the wrong words sometimes, but that's what it's all about. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just you showing up and showing your intention and putting that into action and completing the Trinity. That's what counts. And this idea that he had, this brilliant idea, which is to create the so-called digital freedom platform. And I have donated to that digital freedom platform because of the very principle that when I give energy to a project that really needs to become manifested, because these people from YouTube and Facebook and all these technocratic monopolies, they want to control what you think and what you consume. This is outrageous. They want to tell you what you're allowed to think and what not to think. We need to show them that we are human beings, that we're not going to take this, because it's a question of freedom of expression and the freedom to share ideas, which always makes us move forward in evolution. And this really sparked me, the idea from Brian Rose. It really sparked me to create a platform, digital freedom platform. And he calls it the London Real Army, that is supporting that project. And I supported it because I supported that project with $25 because I'm a founding member of this. I give my energy to that project, and I'm directly connected then to the unfoldment of that project. I want to be part of that freedom. And that's what I do on a smaller scale, because I don't have a following of more than 1 million people. This is only a small channel, but this is a channel that's only organically growing because I know this idea of freedom is powerful. It is the most powerful thing, and I've got my finger on the pulse of the earth right now. I'm tasked to do this. I've got my finger on the pulse. It's an idea that will only grow. And even if this, if my YouTube channel right now is very small, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make it less worthy. Yes, the quality of the video and audio can be better, and I'm working on that to make better content. But it doesn't change the quality of the information I'm sharing with you. This is what they don't want you to know. And people coming together and assisting each other in reality manifestation, how it works, the real law of attraction, integrating emotions. They don't want you to know that. To be empowered and not fall into the trap of I can't, what should I do? I can't do anything. And that's really inspired me, this idea from Brian Rose, and I'm moving forward with my idea too, which I'll share at the end of the show. And as I said, YouTube bans medically unsubstantiated content after the interview with David Icke went completely viral and millions of people watched the first interview, like I think 7 million people or so, and by now I think the second interview was watched by 4 million people in the first 24 hours. So that's gone totally viral, even though they censored it, the impact. And that's how scared they are of this. Because that's how they lose control. That's so powerful an idea is. And why is YouTube censoring? Why don't they want you to have access to certain things? Because it's information that changes perception on a base level. It's information that changes perception, and it's perception that changes reality. And this is the major topic that I focus on in this video series. And there's a deepness to this one slide here where I can spend my entire lifetime just focusing on that picture and everything that it contains. That's the power of natural law. That's the power of the nature of reality and occult knowledge. That's the power. Change your experience. No control freak wants you to do that. And this system, this control system, which is run by control freaks, is an order of a thought majority on the very basis. And that is one of the Hermetic principles. One of the main principles is the principle of mentalism. Everything is a creation of mind. From the very basis, this whole system has its basis in the mind, and it is an order of a thought majority. That's why it's important to give power to our individual expression. And it's in the realm of mind. This whole system. And the order of a system is also strictly compartmentalized. It's strict compartmentalization which runs this system, which means that you only know what you need to know in the company you work for. It's all works on a need to know basis. And no one has access to the information at the very top, because then they could see the entire picture of where this is going, and then they wouldn't be involved in what they're doing. There's many politicians that are implementing this agenda that don't know where the agenda is leading. That's how this entire control reality is being implemented, because most of the people involved don't know that that is what they're doing, and they are in a victim mode where they say, well, if I don't do it, someone else will do it, so I'll just keep my job as a politician and earn a lot of money, and I'm going to be fine. It's going to be fine for me. Well, it's not going to be. And we need to take over responsibility and integrate that entire pyramid inside of ourselves. When the whole system is strictly compartmentalized and it's all on a need to know basis. And you hear this a lot from people. I can't talk about it. I'm a psychologist and I can't talk about medical things because I'm not an expert on that. It's always based on being an expert on this and being an expert on that. And yes, I would also say that I am a becoming expert of natural law principles, and it's important to have experts in certain things and to be as good as you can possibly be. But my approach is different. You don't become an expert after X amount of years, 5 years of studying or whatever. You can do the same level of expert also, in 1 year, if you put the effort into it. And there's to start with a new basis, to start from your own being, and that you can speak about things even if you're not an expert in it, but you're just sharing ideas. That's the basic premise and a new paradigm that I put forward is that we start sharing our ideas and not having to be an expert on different subjects, but actually be truthful and yeah, be profound. Right. So the matrix mindset is persecutor, victim, and rescuer. And the victim, when we stay in victim mentality, we create a persecutor, and we want a rescuer from outside. Well, I'm not here to rescue anyone. I'm only putting forward ideas, that are based on deep knowledge. And it's us that will change the dynamics of this world. And we are involved in a spiritual war, as I said in the last episode. And we are the number one resource in the universe right now. It seems like there is a big battle happening on the planet right now from all sorts of entities also, because these control freaks that are running our system, the Elon Musks, they don't seem very human to me in their behavior. And what I know is the fact that we as human beings are in the best position possible to anyone or any control freak or anyone who wants to manipulate. We as humanity are in the best position when we can recognize that. Why do I know that? Because we are native. We are the natives of this planet. That's what we are. We were born on this planet, and we decide what happens on our planet. We decide that by creating the new paradigm right now together. It's time we took our planet back, as I already said in the last episode, and it's important to focus on that. We're not only taking our lives back. This is not only about me fulfilling my dreams, it's about us fulfilling our dreams in a co-creative project together. There is nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. And now's the time. We not only took our life back, we create the life of our dreams, but in this process we are taking our planet back, because we are igniting the fire in our human family. I ignite the fire with my brothers and sisters, and that's the fire of courage. And that's what's contagious, not some virus. It's courage that's contagious. And I show this courage as I'm doing this video right now. I'm a little bit critical of everything that I've done today, because I myself am my biggest critic. Don't worry about that. Could have done it better, but I'm going to upload it anyway, because every single word that I say and everything that I do is recorded live, because I'm showing you a principle there also. I only teach what I learn, and I walk the talk, and that is I learn from my mistakes. I learn from the mistake of expectation, for example, that someone is going to support me. That's very nice if you want to do that, and I very appreciate it. It really served me to go deeper inside of myself and integrate that emotion of existential fear. There is nothing to fear. The idea of freedom is out there, and I'm free in my being, knowing that this is the idea that wants most traction. And the London Real people, for example, they have a huge platform, and that wanted to move forward with this platform, the Digital Freedom Platform, and they have been supported brilliantly. They wanted to raise £100,000 or dollars, no, $100,000 in the next 2 weeks, and they had the money together after 16 hours. Yeah, that's how big of an idea freedom is, and to create our own platforms, and to assist and help each other in this transformational process. They raised it in 16 hours, and they were on 200,000 after, I don't know, a little bit more than a day. And now they're moving forward to 500,000. Last time I checked, they were on $282,000, and they're getting this project done in like no time. That's the idea. That's how powerful an idea is. And the idea that I'm sharing with you right now is a promise that only if it's not possible in any way, shape or form, and I'll give an update, you will get a weekly episode of Navigating the Matrix with Natural Law series. Every Friday you get a weekly episode. That's a promise that I make to you. And my new idea that is coming forward here is that I offer for until the end of May, for practice reasons, because I've never done this before. I've been a teacher, a maths teacher for how many years? 13, for 17 years I've been a math teacher, and I've been teaching people mathematics. Now I want to be teaching these principles to you, because that is the most important. We need to get free here, and we need to help each other. So what I'm putting forward as an offer to you is until the end of May, write to me on the email address that I'm putting underneath, steven.wybrow@protonmail.com. Write to me, and we can arrange a Skype meeting, because the idea that I have, which told me that this is what the next step to make, is to do live calls with you together for, like, say, an hour of a live chat, and get into communication with each other and help each other forward in your process of manifestation. Because we're right in the middle here, we're in springtime here in Austria, for example, and in springtime there's a lot of ideas coming in, and it's this natural cycle of creation that I talked about last time, and which I want to go deeper into. It goes full circle, and it's about manifestation. So instead of manipulation, we go into manifestation. That's the left side of the fork in the road to take. And that's what I'm taking. And I'm offering that for free, 1 hour of a live call on Skype. And you can do it multiple times also. And just for a free donation. This is what I'm tasked to do. I'm a kid from the new paradigm. That's why I've always been a misfit in whatever I've done. I've done things very well, but I never felt at home. I always felt alone. I never belonged to anything really. When it comes to university, for example, where I studied, and the work and the jobs that I've done up to now, I never felt home. And that's good, sir. So I'm doing it differently. My focus is fully in the new paradigm. And the new paradigm is, that we assist each other in the most important thing, which is to take our planet back. And that takes courage, So yeah, the idea, each one teach one. The system is an order of a thought majority, and the order, this pyramid and the whole system, how it works, which is hierarchically based. I'm the boss and you do what I tell you to do. I'm the government and you do what I tell you to do. It's all an idea. When we dilute it to the very essence of this system and expose it for what it is, it's only an idea, and this idea has no power anymore. It's dead. And I share with you a new idea, which is each one teach one. Come together as humanity and help each other manifest our dreams and take the planet back at the same time. That's my idea. I was hugely inspired by the idea put forward by London Real. They create a digital freedom platform. And I'm creating my own platform here right now on a much smaller scale and let it organically grow. That's what I'm tasked to do here, and I'm happy with how things are right now. Grateful for everything that is, although I don't know how I'm paying my next month rent. I can't also take on a job right now because up till middle of May things are closed still. It's quite difficult, but I stay in trust. It's very important work that I'm doing right now. It's one great work, and I trust that it's gonna be fine. So I'll just improve the quality of the Navigating the Matrix series. It's very dynamic, it's always changing, and I hope you enjoyed this show today. And yeah, if you want to support me moving forward in this endeavor, because once I give my word, I give my word, and that's it. I'm doing it. The breakdown last week was a breakthrough to a new idea now, in which I put forward that we can, at any time, we can organize, have a live call on these subjects, and based on personal transformation and assisting you in what your next step is, or whatever you want to talk with me about, it's about honesty. As I said, the first step of initiation is honesty. And I offer private calls for free until the end of May. And to just get some practice, and I'll get better and better and better in that, and then we'll see. I already live the new paradigm, and the new paradigm for me is that we help each other, and you don't pay entrance to what I do, but you pay at the end what it gave to you, you know? And if you haven't got anything to give right now, but you really want to do that call, then do that call. Because I will be supported in another way, for sure. But I can only give my dedication. And that's all I can do. Just like I put $25 2 days ago for the London Reel, and in some other way I got the idea to hold private conversations, private teaching classes until the end of until the end of May. That was an idea that came yesterday. So I think by being connected energetically with the London Reel idea, that generated an idea in me, because that's that hidden mechanism of manifestation that you just give, put forward, and stay in trust, and you have yourself. The value of yourself is high, and it will come back to you in another way, in another form. So until the end of May, write to me in the email address I have below, and we'll have a conversation. It can also be just half an hour, and we can have a conversation. And it's about helping each other, each one teach one, and then you decide what it's worth to you, and to give you energy to fulfilling the dream you have for your life, because it's about us. It's about what we want. We know we don't want to go into this control grid, into the smart prison system. So we go into there, what we do want. And we know what we want by knowing what we don't want. Thank you very much for listening to this episode, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again next week, Friday, episode 4 of Navigating the Matrix with Natural Law Principles. Have a wonderful day, have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye.